Hello everybody, this is Dr. Amir. I hope you're having a good day. In this video, I would like to talk about a more unique part of George's physical appearance. That would be the white patch of hair amongst his natural black hair. Sometimes this is referred to as a skunk stripe, named for its resemblance. While there are medical reasons that happens to someone, there could also be psychological causes, and I'd like to explore that further. There are certainly many people in the world who have a patch of white hair, and there is a variety of reasons that happens. George's white patch wasn't present when he was a kid, as we've seen in a childhood photo of him, which means there was a change in his chemical makeup at some point in his adulthood. It may have been genetic, but it could also be an emotional response. I don't yet have a definitive opinion one way or the other, but with this video, I'd like to just lay out the facts as I see them for the sake of discussion. So coming from the medical realm, which I am certainly not an expert, but I am an expert researcher, so I'll lay out what I've found. There is a variety of medical and genetic conditions that can cause someone to have a white patch or a streak of white hair. The main one is poliosis. Poliosis is the presence of white hair amongst otherwise natural hair color. It can affect all types of hair on your body, not just the hair on your head, and it can also be present in the skin, but it is most often present in the hair at the front of your head. Scientifically, poliosis is caused by a lack of melanin in the hair follicles. Melanin controls the pigment in your hair and skin. If your body isn't developing it in a certain spot, then that is how your skin or your hair loses pigment and appears white. Poliosis has two general categories of origin: acquired and genetic. Acquired poliosis happens as a consequence to other medical failings in the body, such as shingles or autoimmune disorders. Genetic poliosis is a result of gene mutation that a person can be born with and develops over time. Poliosis usually affects the skin as well. As George doesn't appear to have white patches of skin, it's arguably unlikely poliosis is a viable diagnosis, but still possible. Now, from a psychological perspective, there are studies and theories involving why a person's hair whitens prematurely. The first one is psychological stress and trauma. The ability for stress to make a person's hair white has long been a theory, but more recently has been scientifically proven to be accurate. Researchers in documented experiments with mice were able to determine a link between stress and graying of hair, as the stress attacks the immune system, which can prevent the body from creating new melanocyte stem cells that grow in the hair follicle and add pigment. George has certainly been through emotional stress in his life and potentially could have been through significant trauma. There's so much more still to learn about that part of George's personal life, but you have to wonder if George's skunk stripe is a result of psychological trauma. And the final theory I'd like to talk about is the Mallen Streak. Mallen is a term that originates from the Latin malignus, meaning bad kind. The term originated in a series of novels by Catherine Cookson that details the lives of an evil family who all exhibit the white streak of hair. In the novels, the abhorrent nature of the family is exemplified by the white streak of hair. Contemporarily, the presence of a white hair streak is theorized as a physical indicator of the negative state of a person's soul. Now, there certainly isn't a wealth of documented studies on this subject specifically, But there are a lot of legitimate studies on how negative personality traits can hurt your physical appearance. There's considerable evidence from scientific studies that emotions like anger and depression make your face more weathered. There's definitive evidence that negative stress in your life can adversely affect your physical health and appearance as a whole, generally speaking. This makes me think of the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which has a few film adaptations. The story is, a young man in the Victorian era, named Dorian Gray, becomes influenced to live a life wherein he pursues his selfish pleasures over doing what is morally right. He knows this will make him an amoral, quote-unquote, bad person, but makes the conscious decision to prioritize his own desires over being a, quote-unquote, good person. Dorian has a beautiful painting created by an admirer of himself, Dorian, that shows off his youthful beauty. Knowing that his amoral life that he plans to lead will begin to take a toll on his physical appearance, he sells his soul in exchange for the painting to be the one that shows his aging, not he himself. So as Dorian lives a life of sin, his youthful attractiveness remains. It is at the end of the story that other characters discover the painting. After years of Dorian's hedonistic lifestyle, the painting of Dorian is horrifying to look at. Dorian has sinned so greatly in his life that the painting of him has come to show a grotesque image of who he is. This allegory has sparked theories throughout the years on whether or not a person's evil actions will inevitably affect their personal appearance. It has also sparked a popular trope within narrative writing, wherein a character's moral failings become apparent by corresponding physical failings. Essentially, if someone is ugly on the inside, it eventually shows up as ugliness on the outside. One example of narrative writing is in Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. Lieutenant Aldo Raine and his company capture Nazi soldiers and carve a swastika into their forehead. This act is meant to force Nazis to live their life with a physical deformity as proof of the immoral acts they've committed and just representation of the pain they've caused others. It's a popular story mechanic, and I think people like to believe it exists in the real world. They like to believe there is that just consequence for evil people. Looking at George and being blunt, he's morbidly obese, his face is very aged, his legs are in bad shape. We've seen in videos that he has bad teeth and bad fingernails. He's reported to have bad hygiene. It makes you wonder if his current physical appearance is a consequence of his actions over the years and the state of his soul. The white streak of hair may have been the first abnormal physical change for him, and maybe it was the first warning sign about the type of person he is. Well, those are just my thoughts for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, feel free to say what you want in the comments, and have a great day.